Hello, this is Victor, and I want to share with you now the army that I'm going to use in this second phase of the Warhammer Fantasy League that we are playing in the Games Workshop store. You remember the first month was 1000 points, this second month is 1500 points. What I did is I increased from the army that I used before. I tried to keep the same characters and the same units and just increasing from there. So as you can see, I'm still using the Prophetess Lady. Also, as a reminder, there are no limits in terms of how much you can spend on heroes. So there is not organization chat, and you will see that my army is not following the rules of the organization chat, but I will show you later on. So first of all, I'm using a Prophetess of the Lady. I keep the level 4 in the warehouse, not the warehouse and barding. No, sorry, the barding is, I'm not using the barding. I add here the Crow of Command after my last experience where I was losing my battle combat points. I prefer to put the Crow of Command, and I also add a Dispel Scroll just in case. So I add some equipment now to the Prophetess. I keep my Bretonnian Lord as I use it in the first round: Guial Bow, Barded, Bretonnian Warhouse, Shield, Lance, Virtue of Heroism, Gomril, Red Helm, and the Queen of Fortune. I put him as Guial Bow to have the magical weapon. Then I keep my BSB also as a Guial Bow, especially because I don't put any weapon on him, any magic weapon, and just in case I want to be him called as a magical weapon. I keep the Bretonnian, of course, the Bretonnian Warhouse, and I put him a lance. The virtue of Impetuous Knight to have a long charge, the enchanted field, and I add him the Luck Stone, so I'm able to give a little bit more of resilience to him, at least for one turn. Then I add another Paladin. This will not have, you see, 0, it is not having the Guial Bow. It's with the Barded Bretonnian Warehouse. I put him a lance. Dragon Helm, Armor of Ash Wolf, so he will have his weapon skill 10, and the Relic Sword. And finally, in core units, I have 2 units of 9 realms. One have the banner and the musician and the banner of swiftness, and the other one only have the banner. The reason is I don't have miniatures of musician, I only have 1 minute of musician, so, and yeah, I think the banner of swiftness is nice in one of your lances. And I end up with a Pegasus Knight. So this is 1499 points, so almost there. As you see here, I always like to see what is the percentage I spend each thing. So I'm spending 37% on Lords, 90% on Heroes, 32% on Core, and 12% on Special units. So this is my army, the army that I'm going to use for the next 2 battles at 1500 points. Let's see how it goes and what are the learnings to be prepared to scale for the next months to 2000 points. So be ready, because soon you will have a battle report in this channel.
And we go to the first battle report of 2. I managed to play the 2 games the same day, so I already did the 2 games for this month of 1500 points. And the first game was against Orcs and Goblins, and in particular was only Goblins what they had in front. So here we go to the first battle report with the army that I just present. So we go first to the deployment and Vanguard movements. So I will go a little bit explain what my enemy have in front. So he has 2 units of goblins riding spiders. These are the 2 units of Vanguard, and you see that the Vanguard movements are indicated with the blue arrow. And then he have one of these big spiders, one arachnonaut, a big boost of goblins, of night goblins. Inside he has a shaman and the goblin chief, and then he has a lot of 4 war machines, 2 rogue launchers and 2, I don't know how it's called, the one that is launching goblins. So this is the deployment he did. As you can see, he deployed the 2 spiders on the flanks, and he vanguarded them and the rest of the forces were scored to my left. Here I have to say that I did a mistake during my deployment. As you can see, the two units of knights are too separated, and then I have terrain in between them. So this will make difficult for them to work together and will force me to have two fronts, two open fronts, what is not ideal with the configuration I have. I just move the Pegasus to the middle between the two lances, and I think this was another mistake. I should have moved my Pegasus straight forward, try to catch the war machines. So not very, I don't think it's one of the best movements I did here. Here another close-up of my left flank. You see that I have the spiders. And I was forgetting, he has two snarling waggonets, or how it's called. These things that are full of snarlings. So he has two of these snarlings chariots. Here we see that one of the spiders Vanguard behind this tower. And yeah, and this is the start of the first turn. So we go to the first turn of the battle, and of course I pray so the goblins go first. He moves, as you can see, the big spider move a little bit forward. Here I forgot the arrow, but also this wagonet on the top left move a little bit forward, and then as you can see the other snarling things move forward. The rest just remain in place, waiting for me to advance. Here another picture of my right flank where I have main of my troops. So here I try to do the knight flank, but then yeah, I don't think I played well this battle. So here we see the other flank, just another picture of the same movement. And yeah, the war machines are not visible in that pictures, but are behind this tower in the left. So I really at the bottom left deployment of my enemy. And then he launched all the rocks and goblins on top of me. He have one misfire that did nothing apart of losing my shooting, and I lost one of my Pegasus with by a rock. The other rock also hit one of my knights, but they did not damage. I was lucky there. So just I lost one of my knights by a rock, one of my Pegasus knights. And we go to turn 1 for Bretonnia. So what I decided to do three charge, sorry, are indicated here with the blue arrows. So I decided to charge my unit of knights with the lore of Bretonnia and the battle standard beer. So the big unit with all the characters except one of the paladins, they charge directly to the big spider. Then the paladin of the unit at my right, because when I deploy all the characters in the central unit except one paladin that I deployed on the unit at my right flank. So I decide to charge with the paladin to the chariot, the snarling chariot, and the rest of the unit to charge the spiders. I was expecting that the spiders will run away. Let's see if we are lucky, but I don't think I will catch them. So then here is one of the biggest mistakes I did. I forgot that the Night Goblins have the Fanatics, and the Fanatics just obliterate all the knights except the characters. As you can see, only the 3 characters remain in place. So yeah, this is the result. The 3 goblins finish the movement, the 3 fanatics finish the movement in middle of my unit. They make 24 hits and they completely obliterate the unit. Yeah, this is a mistake. I don't know if I should have only charged with the Lord and force the goblins to go out and minimize the hits by only charging with the Lord. But yeah, this was, I think, a lack of planification. I forgot completely about the fanatics. Here you see another picture. I just put the fanatic to show that my unit was obliterated by these little guys. And then I did the rest here. In the other flank, the paladin managed to charge the snarling chariot, and the spiders just flee, and I move forward 6 inches, I think it was, with my knights. And to protect the unit that was doing the charge to the spiders, I moved the Pegasus just in front of the goblins. In that way, I will avoid a charge at the flank of my knights. In the close combat, the paladin killed the snarlings, and in the other close combat, yeah, I put I think it was flesh to stone to this unit, and I managed to do 3 or 4 wounds to the spider, the big spider, but I get stuck in combat. I didn't have a killing blow. So here we have the 3 characters. I think he did nothing in return. So I won the battle, he's stubborn, and we get stuck in close combat. And this is the situation, the battlefield, at the end of my turn 1. So big losses. He obliterated completely one of my unit of knights by my lack of planification. I should be more conservative and don't be so direct in the charges, maybe. So this is the end of my turn 1. And we go to the turn 2 for the goblins. So yeah, the other snarling chariot just charged my characters to the side. Here we see the other unit of a spider just move forward in that position, and the other unit of spiders rally. So yeah, they have leadership 6 or 7, and they rally. Of course, here in the middle, he charged my Pegasus Knights. So in the magic phase, he threw a vortex that you have to pass, I think was a strength test or you die, and he launched a vortex to block the movement of my knights and my paladin in my right flank. It's not here in the picture, you will see in the next pictures. I could anticipate because he had what's called this, a miscast. And then in the close combat, the impactors of the snarling chariot kill my Bretonnian standard bearer, my BSB. I was very unlucky with the save from the BSB, even with the luck stone and the guard and the war save. I didn't manage to save they just did 2 wounds to my BSB and he died. I also had 1 wound in each of the other characters. Here you see in that picture is the vortex that I was mentioning. This green template there in front of the knights is the vortex. So going back to the close combat between the Ragnarok, the snarling chariot, and my characters, I did a killing blow to the spider, and he died. And then yeah, I just faced the snarling chariot. At the end, I had 2 wounds on my general and 2 wounds on my prophetess, my level 4. We get stuck in close combat, and that's all. I just reform, as you can see, putting the prophetess behind the lord to avoid that she can be killed easily. And yeah, and as you can see here, this is the end of the turn. 2 of the goblins, 1 Pegasus Knight survived the combat, and I was lucky enough to pass the leadership test. So he held the Goblin boost in position, and we go into turn 2 for the Bretonnians. So turn 2 for the Bretonnians. So in my turn 2, I tried to assault with the Paladin to the Goblins bus, but I failed the charge. Then I went to magic, I put Flash to Stone back into my general. I recover 1 wound, and then the then here is I recover 1 wound. I put Flash to Stone on my general, and at the end of the magic phase, the vortex moved. I was trying to flank the vortex, and then the vortex moved, touching my knights. I think they touched 2 or 3 knights. I lost 1, and then it touches the spiders, and he lost 3 spiders. So as you can see, I was trying to flank. It was the only possible movement. Try to squeeze the unit between the vortex and the edge of the battlefield. But at the end, I paid that with one of my knights. In close combat, I did another killing blow, and my general killed the snarling chariot. And now I put them facing the war machines to see if I can charge them and run to them. So, and you can see the Pegasus alone hold again the Goblin bus in position. This was very good because this means that in the Goblin turn, he will not be able to move and he will stack in position. Here we see the situation at the end of my turn too. So big losses from my side, just some losses from the side of the Goblins, the 2 Snarlings, Chariot, and that's all, and the Spider. Let's see if my general can make the way to the war machines. And yeah, what I will try to do is avoid the fight with the big Goblin unit in the middle and try to harvest the points from the war machines. So we go into turn 3 for the Goblins. And these spiders, the 2 survivor spiders, move to block my paladin. They didn't charge, just moved there. The other unit of 5 spiders move. They will try to shoot my paladin with the arrows. And then it comes a disaster. He throw a rock. He started throwing rocks, and the first one was a direct hit to my general. I failed my war save, and he did the 2 remaining wounds to my general. So my general was dead because a rock just fell into his head. And this is the situation. So I just have now I have my level 4 with 2 wounds in the middle of nowhere alone. This is the other flank. In the magic phase, he stopped the vortex, and surprisingly, at the end, and in the combat phase, my Pegasus managed to hold the line again. So this Pegasus is holding all the goblins in position with only 1 remaining wound. Yeah, I've been very lucky up to now because he has a goblin with a strength 6 weapon. So we go to turn 3 for the Bretonnia, and here I don't have a lot to do. The character that was in the best position to assault the war machines is dead. So I decide to protect my prophetess, my level 4, and put in a position that is not that exposed. I try to be close to the enemies. If he starts launching rocks to me, let's see if 1 rock goes to the enemy. I move, and I think here I did another mistake. I just sacrificed the knights at the end. I moved the knights because I wanted to put my prophetess inside of this unit of knights. But I think this was a mistake, and you will see why. I charge with the paladin to the unit of 2 spiders that just stop in front of me. So I was not able to protect to support the Pegasus, so the Pegasus was completely alone in front of these goblins. So this is the situation at the end of the movement. You see, I try to group the remaining forces that I have, and let's see if my paladin managed to kill these 2 spiders. So in my magic phase, I try to put flesh to stone on my knights, and as you can see, I throw a 1-1. So I lost concentration. I wanted to do a couple of powers if it was possible. Try to recover some of my wounds. I didn't want too crazy to avoid to lose my level 4, but these three ones just stopped me from using any power. And then at the end of the combat, it happens what should happen, I guess, some turns before. My Pegasus Knight died, and they just consolidate, reform, as you can see, facing my knights. And now it will be turn for the goblins, so they will have a very clear charge on my knights. So yeah, not ideal. On the other side, my my paladin killed one of the spiders, and they ran away. When the remaining spiders ran away, I chased them, but I didn't catch them. So these arrows are indicating what I was explaining before. The spiders ran, and my paladin just ran on the other side of my knight's unit, in the position that you will see in the picture. So this is when the situation at the end of my turn 3 is not ideal. Heavy losses, and here I think I'm going direct to a crash victory for the goblins. So we go to Goblins Turn 4. Yeah, this explosion there is indicating that the remaining spider just ran out of the board. And the goblins charge on my knights, and the spiders charge the flank of my knights. And just my prophetess was there, looking how my knights are going to be obliterated. You can see here a picture without the arrows. And my level 4 is just next to this bus of goblins. Another picture of the only combat. I think he tried to throw some stones on my knight, my paladin knight, and he missed everything. As expected, my knights are crushed by the goblins. Uh, the goblins just reform, the unit of goblins, and the spider riders, and just ram down. So chase me and ram them down, and kill them. So this is the situation at the end of the turn for the goblins. Yeah, and at this point, I have to say that we get confused. We thought that we were at turn 5, so this is why I said Bretonnian turn 5, because we completely lost track of the turns, and we at the end we skipped one of the turns. So we go to Bretonnian, indeed it's turn 4, but we were considering that this was the turn 5 in our game. So yeah, I move my level 4, my 2 remaining characters, I move one to the backward of my enemy. I will try to assault the war machines, and I move the prophetess. As far as I missed to lose the leadership, I couldn't march, so I leave her close to the goblins in case they try to throw some rocks. At least one, I have that to see the possibility that some goes on top of the goblins. My magic phase, I didn't manage to do anything. Yeah, and this is the other flank. So this is a picture showing the rest of the positioning. So nothing more to say here. We go to the goblin. Last turn was in the turn 5, 6. He moved the spiders, try to chase my prophetess. I think he reformed this. I don't remember exactly what they did with the battle. At that moment, the battle was completely solved in favor of the goblins. So they moved the spiders, they shot the arrows to my prophetess, and they killed the prophetess. We go to the last turn from Bretonnia. I charge one of the war machines. I receive one wound. This one, I think this wound was received in the previous shooting phase from all the rocks. I received one. I was hit partially by one of the rocks, and they just give one wound. I charged one of the rock launchers, uh, and of course I killed them three. I killed the war machine, and that's all. So this is the end of the battle. Yeah, I think we skipped one turn at the end, but was completely clashing victory for the Goblins. An additional turn I don't think makes sense and will give any additional thing. So Goblins victory, and that's all. So I would like to explain a little bit what I think was my mistakes. The first mistake was to split my force in two fronts. In that way, I couldn't have any supporting unit on my character unit. One of the biggest mistakes I did is forgot the fanatics. This completely obliterated my knights. Yeah, it's a learning lesson for my next time. So next time it's better to sacrifice one paladin or something that have less value and pop out these fanatics. Uh, yeah, that's all that I can say. Crushing victory for them. I learned some lessons and I hope I can reapply them in my next battle. So that's all. Thanks a lot for watching this video and see you again later. Bye.